What's up, everybody? It's your boy Allan Wade, and welcome to another episode of Beat the Streets. We're out here on the corner of 30th and Market Street, and we got to interview a few people because we have some questions that we need answers to. It's a little overcast today, like it was the last time. It's drizzling on me right now, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get these questions answered. We have questions, and we need answers, and we're going to solve this problem, or we're going to try our best to help solve this problem with this gun epidemic that's going on in Philadelphia. What's up, everybody? We found our first interviewee here, and we are here with, what's your name?
Aisha.
Aisha, thank you for letting me do this interview with you. Aisha, I appreciate it. And Aisha, where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. And let me ask you a question. Have you or anyone you know lost anybody to gun violence?
Yes.
So I guess it's safe to say that obviously you're against gun violence like most people, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, do you have access to a gun?
No.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Shy.
Shy, nice to meet you, Shy.
Nice to meet you, too.
And Shy, where are you from?
I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from North Philadelphia, born and raised, you know what I'm saying? But I presently, I live out of the state, but I'm here on a frequent basis. I was raised here, went here most of my life.
Okay,
Right here in Philadelphia.
And have you or anyone you know ever lost anybody to gun violence?
Absolutely. Tons of people. I've lost a lot of people. I've most recently lost some people, and I know a ton of people who definitely have died at the hands of gun violence.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And do you have access to a gun, sir?
We're in Philadelphia, so to be honest with you, everybody has access to a gun. Whether you're 50 years old or 5 years old, you definitely have access to a gun because, unfortunately, that's the nature of our city, and that's the type of city that we live in. And everybody has access to a gun.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me to do this interview with you.
You're welcome.
And what's your name?
Treasure?
Treasure. It's nice to meet you, Treasure. So, Treasure, where are you from?
Uptown Philly?
Uptown. Is that North Philly, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. What's your name, sir?
Lycurgus Edwards.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you. Have you or anyone you known been a victim of gun violence?
My dad, yeah. Well, that was before I was born, but actually, yeah, a lot of my friends have been killed recently.
I'm sorry to hear that. And do you have access to a gun?
No.
Okay. And do you think these days someone is more likely to get killed by an adult or a child?
A child.
And why would you say that?
I feel like it's easy for them to get access to a gun, because if I wanted to, I could probably. So, and they're kids, so they don't really know, like,
Wow.
the consequences, and they think it's cool, so.
Do you think these days someone is more likely to get killed by an adult or a child?
A child.
Why is that?
Because the generation that we're growing up in, they don't really have no structure. So they kind of just go off what they see in music videos and just the environment that they live in, they self.
That's a very tricky question. So here's the thing. An altercation can come at any expense. An altercation, just focusing on that word in itself, it has to brew. And unfortunately, if you're looking at the youth, what happened is a lot of times because of their, I don't want to say lack of education or being raised by some decent parents, sometimes the things that play the catalyst to the things that they know come from prison, come from the streets, come from hustlers, come from pimps, dealers, whores, things like that. So if an altercation presents itself with a younger person and an older person, I'll just say an older person may be more inclined to not want to engage in that, right? Out of the fear of knowing how younger people handle things.
Right.
If two younger people have an altercation, that could very easily present itself. And in most cases, most young people are deemed to already have weapons.
Right.
That's why a lot of times you see officers that use excessive force. They go that far immediately because of the fear of them already having weapons.
Okay.
So if you have two older people, that could sometimes lead into a fist fight. Maybe somebody could potentially get stabbed. And if a person has a weapon, whether they're licensed or unlicensed, it's a good strong possibility that could lead to that. But in most cases,
Wow.
yeah.
What do you think would be a way to solve this issue that we're having with children with the gun violence, killing each other and killing everybody? What do you think a solution might be?
I think first it would probably have to start with the parents. And I can also say that nowadays there's younger mothers and fathers, so it's not kind of how it was like back in the 80s, like growing up, where we had like our parents was a little older and they not, wasn't having kids like at so much of a young age, you know what I mean? So first I would have to say you have to start with the parents, and the parents' mentality and how they raise their kid and teaching them from right and wrong and setting structures and discipline and stuff like that.
What do you think are some of the things that we can do to start preventing these gun violence in the city?
It's sad and it's unfortunate in terms of preventing it. I think that one of the things that we in Philadelphia could definitely do to try to curb the actions utilized when having a gun could be more tougher, more definite gun laws. When you realize that there's a consequence for your action, you can't kill a person. And unfortunately in Philadelphia, there's no self-defense law. There's no self-defense law in the state of Pennsylvania. So you actually have people who may be licensed that don't understand responsibility, that because you're licensed and we now have an altercation that you shoot me and kill me and say I feared for my life. Right? So when society realizes that there's going to be extreme consequences utilized for you irresponsibly using a gun, right, taking a life, jeopardizing the lives of other people, children, schools, things of this nature, you can't ask the court system to have mercy on you. Oh, I just got my GED, just got my kids back. I was going through a divorce, I'm on medication. You want us to have sympathy, but you killed 2, 3, 4, 5 innocent people. So when you do these things, I think that, there should definitely be a consequence. Senseless murders is just like, you get upset when the law does it. To people that, okay, he was reaching, I thought he had a gun, it was a phone. And you get so upset at that. So I think that if you can get upset with the police officers, everybody, there should be, no boundaries.
And that makes sense. Where do you think these kids are getting these guns from?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I think the kids are getting a gun from like people on the street. You really could get a gun anywhere. Like it's not like you have to walk into a store to get a gun. There's people that sell, guns to kids, and because at the end of the day, it's all about a dollar. So however the kid might have got the money, rather they stole it, rather they hustle for it. However, that person that's selling a gun don't really care because you just have the money. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more so like from the street. And then you got kids that steal it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I believe, honestly, that here in Philadelphia, just like anything, whether it's legit business or not, everything travels word of mouth. So you have, hypothetically speaking, you have a legitimate business owner that may have street-related friends. So it could then you might have an older brother who has guns. So a lot of times, these guns transfer from hand to hand through the people that you know. You know what I'm saying? I do believe, though, that, and it's crazy because you have some of your more exotic weapons coming here to Philadelphia, and they're coming from down south. They're coming from these different places, and they bring them up to here to a place where it's known geographically and nationally that Philadelphia is a place where the murder rate is pretty high. So, and your local cities around it, Chester, different places like that. So they bring these weapons here to off them, get rid of them from these other places. So yeah, they're coming from these different locations.
Okay. Where are you from, sir?
I'm originally from the Philippines. I'm a veteran.
That's awesome. I see you're United States Army veteran. Thank you for serving.
Yeah, so I served in the United States Army.
Okay. I'm also a veteran. I was in the Navy, U.S. Navy. I was a CB. Construction battalion, yeah. So, I think you already answered this question, but have you or anyone in your family or anyone you know fell victim to gun violence in Philadelphia?
No.
No. That's a good thing. And do you have access to a gun, sir?
Do
you have access to a gun?
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I guess if you go to a gun store, you can easily You can have access to a gun store,
Yeah.
but there's no violence that I see here regarding guns in Philadelphia. People here don't seem to need it.
That's good.
They don't need guns.
Okay. Do you so you don't see any gun violence in the city? That's an interesting thing. What part of the city do you live in, if you mind me asking?
I live in here in Philadelphia. Then I moved to Upper Darby.
What do you think we can do to help stop this gun issue that we're having in the city of Philadelphia?
More peace. I think there should be like more youth groups, like more things like Big Brother, Big Sister to keep kids in their right mind, you know?
Right.
And just more, get them more educated because clearly they think it's cool, so.
Right. Do you think that the music that the kids are listening to plays an effect and has an effect on gun violence?
Yeah, that's what makes it cool is the music and the rap industry, a lot of things like that, yeah.
I definitely believe that there's a responsibility that should come along with your platform as an artist, especially depending on the level of notoriety that you get. So I think that the more publicity that you get, the more notoriety that you get, your more high-profile artists should have definitely adopt a more conscious responsibility about the type of music that they put out. And the reason why I say that is the power of suggestion comes in so many formats. You could be fasting or dieting or something like that, and the Burger King or McDonald's commercial come on, and you think about you want to go get something to eat from McDonald's. Yeah. So the power of suggestion is a lot. And then when you hear these things and you hear these different words, when you hear guys like, for example, Jay-Z said, we embrace and we embrace the word nigga, he said. When you hear that from a guy like him say that, and then you begin using it, suggesting that it's not that big of a deal. It's the most abusive word on the face of all vocabulary. It's the most abusive word you could ever use.
Right.
If you call me a deadbeat and I'm not a deadbeat father, it wouldn't matter to me.
Right.
If I cut you off, you're not going to say, you're a deadbeat with no job. I'll laugh at that.
Right.
You're going to say something that's attacking,
Right.
whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic. And it goes for all nationalities. So,
Yeah.
you know, when you talk about artists having influence, they definitely should consider it, especially when you, specifically blacks, let's say that. When you say that Black Lives Matter, how much do they really matter when you're worth $700-800 million at the hands of people purchasing your music?
Yeah.
And you still say, she's the hoe, she's the B, she's the this, I'll blow your head off and twist you out. And then every upcoming artist that wants to be successful has to mimic that in order to try to achieve what you've achieved. So yeah.
Do you think some of the music that we listen to might influence this gun violence?
Of course, definitely.
Okay. Do you think that penalizing some of the parents of the children that commit acts that involves a gun should be penalized if it's found that the gun belongs to the parent?
That's a good question. I think it depends if they know, but if they don't, if they're like completely oblivious, but also parents shouldn't be so naive.
Right.
So that's a hard question.
And they should lock the guns up.
Yeah.
The kids shouldn't, you know, it's okay to keep a gun in the house, but you should, you know, have the weapon locked up so that the kid can have access. You can't shoot somebody with a big gun case, you know, so yeah. You think they should be held accountable?
I don't feel as though they should be held accountable because again, like some people, parents might have the gun license and, you know, was able to carry. Then again, you got to think about the environment we live in again, like far as like different areas of Philadelphia. Anything's liable to happen, even though it's anywhere. But, you know, Philly's a high crime rate and a lot of things do occur. So I wouldn't say that per se, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it do be for the safety of them and their child, just in case somebody run in the house or, you know, anything like that. So I wouldn't say that. I would say that I think they should probably like put it somewhere where it's not so accessible, you know, for them to get to. But then again, children, you know, once they get older, they kind of really just do their own thing and.
Right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Well, Aisha, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with me. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So thank you for doing this interview with me, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Tom.
Tom. It's very nice to meet you, Tom.
Nice to meet you.
And where are you from, Tom?
Philadelphia.
To thank you for allowing me to do this interview with you.
Thank you.
And what's your name?
Lorena.
Lorena. It's nice to meet you, Lorena. And where are you from, Lorena?
I'm from West Philadelphia, but right now I live in Delaware County.
West Philadelphia, born and raised. I live in Delaware County. Okay, what a coincidence.
Yes.
And have you or anyone you know lost anyone to gun violence?
Yes.
Sorry to hear that. Have you or anyone you know fell victim to gun violence in Philadelphia?
No,
That's a good thing. And do you have access to a gun, Tom?
I do not.
Do you have access to a gun?
No, I do not.
Do you think in the city of Philadelphia someone is more likely to be killed by an adult or a child?
An adult.
An adult, okay.
Most likely both.
Both?
They're both at a high rate because, you know, you have nowadays these kids coming up, the way they're coming up, you know, they're thinking guns is okay, it's all right, you know, and people nowadays, they're getting more violent. It doesn't matter where you at, you're getting more violent. And I have a son, so depending on, I had to go out of Philadelphia just to make sure my son can get a decent education, to make sure that he can be raised up in the right proper way. I mean, I'm not saying that somewhere is better than anywhere else because, you know, you do have county schools that are, you know, breaking out in violence as well.
Right.
So it's I would definitely have to say both.
Okay. So do you think that the music that we listen to affects the gun violence in Philadelphia?
Yeah, definitely.
What type of artist would you say?
Oh my God.
Do you think that the music that some of the kids listen to plays a part in the gun violence?
I mean, it's a hard question. I think it's more the attitude with the music, you know, because I mean, I've always played video games and I like hard music, but
Right.
not going to go shooting someone. I think it's just some kids feel like, you know, don't have parents or don't have one or don't have the other, and they're pushed to the street. And I think if you're in a gang, I think that music can, you know, pump up the chest to want to do certain things. But I don't think it's the music per se. I think
Okay. Where do you think these children are getting access to these guns?
Either through their friends, mostly the parents, definitely the adults that's around them.
Okay.
Which way they can get access to them.
Okay. What do you think we can do to help stop the gun violence in the city of Philadelphia?
And I think certain legalization laws stopping certain automatic weapons and, you know, increasing the, you know, if you have a record or were insane that you can't have a gun.
Right, that makes sense.
You know?
Makes sense. Do you think that the parents of these children should be held accountable or penalized in some type of way if it was found that the parent owned the gun in the crime?
It is a big responsibility. Yes, I honestly do.
Okay.
Because the child wouldn't have been able to get to the gun unless you would have had it around. And what kind of safety did you put as far as making sure that child won't get to that gun?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That totally makes sense.
It
And
doesn't matter.
yeah. Do you think that the parents of these children should be held accountable if it's found that the parent owned the gun?
Yes. If they don't lock it up, if it's just left around, I mean, kids are smart. You know, they'll figure out even if you lock it up how to get it out. So,
Definitely.
you know, you hide the bullets. You know, disarm it somehow. I know. You know, they should be held slightly responsible, if not at all.
Yeah.
Even if they locked it up, it was put away, and the kid found it. You know, it's a legal question, but you know, I think there is a partial responsibility.
I agree with you. Where do you think people are getting access to some of these guns that they're using in crimes?
Off the streets.
What do you do for a living, if you mind me asking?
I'm a certified nurse.
Certified nurse. That's an awesome career.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for allowing me to do this interview. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much.
What do you do for a living, sir, if you mind me
I'm a
asking?
chef.
Chef? That's awesome. Do you cook at a restaurant?
Right now, I cook right down the street at the Sears Center. So.
Fact, do you guys know that most chefs are actually men? Is that right, sir?
It used to be, and it's becoming very different now. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going like 30% to 70 now.
Okay, so 70% male and 30% women.
Yes.
Okay. Very interesting, folks. Very interesting. People have a lot of different opinions and suggestions on what we should do to help stop the gun violence epidemic that's going on in the city. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section down below to all the questions that I asked these people outside today. If this is your first time visiting the channel, I'd like to say thank you first of all. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the post notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video, guys. So it's your boy A-Dubb, King Allan Alexander on all social medias. And I'm out, guys. Later.
Turn up that, crank it up. Why listen to the rest when you're rocking with the best, baby? This right here, this right here, this right here.